It's kind of clear that in the subcompact race, it's the P365 and 43X that are clear leaders, especially in terms of popularity and sales. Of course, we all know that the P365 came out first, and the Glock 43 was made just to compete with it. Right now, the P365 lineup is already an extensive family of guns, while the Glock 43, staying true to its Glock reputation, only has one variation, and that's the Glock 43X. So which one is better? Hey, this is your boy Ted from Line 45, and today let's examine the P365XL and Glock 43X, see where they differ, and highlight the distinct features that make them stand out from the rest. And finally, let's try to assess which of these two popular micro-compacts is a better choice for concealed carry. But first, let me do this quick plug. Hit the like and subscribe button, all those buttons you can see below. I know it feels like a hassle, but those simple clicks mean a lot for my channel. Now let's get back to the good stuff. Now for starters, I do own a Glock 43X, but I currently don't have a P365XL. It's just fortunate that I came from Washington, and I had a short but lovely visit to the Lakewood shooting range in the city of Lakewood. There, I was able to rent a P365XL, which allowed me to get a good feel for the pistol and compare it to the Glock 43X that I was carrying at that time. Legally, of course. Prior to making the comparison, I already had the idea that these two guns would be distinct from one another in the sense that they are constructed differently, obviously. This is not me forming any bias, but I am just going to tell you my overall impressions about these two pistols. Keep in mind that I also shot over a dozen other micro-compacts and CCWs, such as the Hellcat, GX4, and the new Bodyguard 2.0. So, more or less, I can actually give some objective takes on these guns. Now let's start with the specifications. The Glock 43X is a 9mm, striker-fired, semi-auto pistol with a standard flush-fit capacity of 10+1 rounds. It has a 3.4-inch barrel, while its total length is about 6.5 inches. It is a slimline series pistol, so this thing only has an inch of width. It stands 5 inches tall, by the way. With these numbers, it's clear that this one works well for deep concealment. On the flip side, we have the SIG P365XL. The P365XL is obviously larger than the original P365. This one has a 3.7-inch barrel, in contrast to the 3.1-inch barrel of the P365, so it's also a given that it's longer too. The overall length of the P365XL is 6.6 inches, which is virtually the same as the Glock 43X. What's clear here is that when it comes to sight radius, both the P365XL and Glock 43X are substantially better than the original models. In terms of capacity, the P365XL holds more than what a Glock 43X on their flush-fit mags. It arrives with a 12-round mag, and it's completely possible to increase it to 15 rounds of 9mm with the available extended mags. But if we just use their flush-fit mags, the Glock 43X offers slightly more real estate on the grip than the P365XL. The P365 is 4.8 inches tall, while the Glock 43X is 5 inches. I know that this is a minuscule difference, but on the range, I find the Glock 43X a lot easier to hold than its SIG rival, given that my hand profile leans on the large size. The reason why the P365XL holds more rounds than the Glock 43X, despite the 43X being the longer one, is that the P365XL used a combination of single-stack and double-stack design that allowed it to maximize its capacity without compromising its overall size. The Glock 43X maintained a single-stack approach to its architecture, despite the popularity of double-stack micro-compact pistols right now. Of course, this means that the Glock 43X is wider on the grip than the SIG P365, and again, this nuance is something you can neglect, but that just shows the efficiency of SIG Sauer in making their magazines. Both the Glock 43X and SIG P365XL are modular and fresh from the factory. But what I can say is that the P365 in general is more modular than whatever Glock pistol you toss in. This is because of the SIG Sauer removable fire control unit. This same feature is also found on the P250 and P320, and if you have those pistols, then you already know firsthand the amount of customizations you can do with them. By the way, if you are still oblivious about it, a fire control unit is a chassis that houses all the fire control parts, and since SIG Sauer made it removable from the frame of the P365, you really have the option to swap slides and frames. Heck, you can even change the caliber of the P365 from 9mm to 380 ACP. While it's true that the aftermarket of Glock is a lot bigger than SIG Sauer, there are still a decent number of options for post-purchase upgrades for your P365 pistol, which includes sights, magazine releases, and trigger. With the Glock 43X, you have the option to remove its slide and replace it with something like a Glock 48 slide. Doing so would change the shooting dynamics of the Glock 43X, as it gets a longer slide without changing the width and height of its frame. It means a longer sight radius without compromising the overall concealability of the pistol. Still, in the grand scheme of things, the SIG P365XL is a lot more modular than the Glock 43X. In terms of shootability, I think I have to favor the Glock 43X here. I mean, this is just my opinion based on my experience with the two pistols. The Glock 43X has inherited all the qualities known to Glock. If you want a simple and consistent self-defense pistol, the Glock 43X is the way to go. Point it to your target, pull its trigger, and the gun shoots right after. There are no other quirks, just point and shoot. Well, a lot of you will argue about this, considering that the factory trigger and sights of Glock 43X are not as good as the ones installed in the SIG P365XL. The X-ray 3-day night sights, for instance, just perform better in giving you accurate aims. Plus, the SIG P365XL already has an optic cut on its slide. Meanwhile, if you want optics for your Glock 43X, you need to get its MOS version. So yes, the modular optics system for Glock 43X is an entirely different configuration, which is kinda annoying, as it should have been a default feature when the gun was released. But as I've said, the Glock 43X is modular, and it has an extensive aftermarket. So, all of its parts are as common as the parts of Honda or Toyota cars. You can always upgrade its trigger and sights without having to spend a lot. I just find the simplicity of the Glock 43X a lot more appealing. It's blocky but gives a reliable performance nonetheless. Another reason why I put the Glock 43X over the P365XL is that it fits well in my hands. If you have small hands, you will like both the grip of the P365XL and Glock 43X. But if your hands are large, there's a difference you can really spot on. With the P365XL, my pinky finger hung at the bottom. A concealed carry pistol has to offer a user-friendly grip, as it will help you control the gun, tame its recoil, and shoot it accurately. I know that extended mags can fix the problem, but the same problem isn't present in the Glock 43X, even if I am just using its flush-fit mag. I can still place my three fingers comfortably on the grip of the Glock 43X, and that always helps me shoot this pistol comfortably. I am not saying that the P365XL is not shootable. I am sure as hell that a lot of people love to use this gun as their concealed carry, but I was really expecting a lot from a gun that is hyped as the P365XL. Again, it's not bad. It's shootable, reliable, and accurate. But I thought that it felt better than the Glock 43X overall. Now, I did mention that the trigger of the P365XL is better than the Glock 43X. I think the majority of shooters out there who have tried these two pistols can agree with this. However, this won't stop me from suggesting that you need to replace the trigger of the P365XL. The M-Carbo trigger is a good choice, as it offers better consistency and smoothness than the factory trigger of the P365XL. It will not remove the mushy break, though, as it's a striker-fired trigger. The SIG P365XL is more modular than the Glock 43X, but the 43X has a bigger aftermarket support, so after 100 rounds, you can immediately swap the trigger of your Glock pistol, and you can do this at a much cheaper price. Accuracy between the two is always a subject of debate. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't notice a difference between the two. Mechanically speaking, these two micro-compact pistols are designed to be accurate from 7 to 15 yards, and in controlled conditions, up to 25 yards. Believe me when I say that these two guns are more accurate than me, so when both of them gave me tight groups, that already told me that these two pistols are equally effective as concealed carry weapons. Perhaps the only aspect I can favor the P365XL over the Glock 43X is the night sights. The night sights of the P365XL are so much better and easier to use than the dreaded polymer iron sights of the Glock 43X. So yeah, if you are going to pick a Glock 43X, make sure you replace its stock sights. In terms of reliability, both are just right. I have to admit that I've shot more rounds in my Glock 43X than the P365XL, but I don't think that the P365XL is as reliable as its Glock counterpart. It fed the 200 rounds that I've put through it with zero hiccups. The ergonomics of the P365XL are also better than the Glock 43X. Overall, it's more comfortable to hold and operate as compared to the blocky Glock. That's not a hate to the Glock 43X, as all Glocks are known to be stocky and blocky. On the flip side, the Glock 43X is easier to shoot fast after you draw it from the holster. So what I am trying to say is that when it comes to concealed carry applications, the form of the Glock 43X will benefit you more. It's smaller than the P365XL, even when the two are fitted with a 15-round mag. Plus, the tall and wide grip of the Glock 43X allows for a full-handed grip. However, in other departments, such as sights, triggers, controls, and ergonomics, the P365XL is indeed the better gun. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell. Just press all the buttons. Those little clicks are free, but they help the channel a lot. Stay sharp, stay safe, and remember, it's not just about the shot, it's about mastering the craft. Until next time, lock and load.